In some parts of Mexico, if you see violence, murder, or drug trafficking, a few cartels may be responsible. One of the main suspects is the Sinaloa Cartel, considered the largest and most powerful drug trafficking organization in the Western Hemisphere. This network includes some of Mexico's most notorious drug lords. Beyond the violence and human suffering associated with this criminal enterprise lies a staggering reality. The Sinaloa Cartel is estimated to be worth over $500 billion. How did a group of criminals amass such an unimaginable fortune? We are going to uncover the truth behind the Sinaloa Cartel. Without further ado, let's start the video. History. The state of Sinaloa in Mexico has a long history of growing and smuggling marijuana and poppy. Many of Mexico's drug trafficking organizations started here as small groups of peasant families. In the 1960s and 1970s, these families moved from smuggling to dealing drugs, especially marijuana. Pedro Aviles was one of the first to traffic large amounts of marijuana and invited Joaquin El Chapo Guzman into the business. Aviles was killed in 1978 during a police shootout. In the late 1970s, the families expanded their activities. They began transporting cocaine for Colombian and Central American traffickers and moved their operations to Guadalajara in Jalisco. Leaders like Rafael Caro Quintero, Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, and Ernesto Fonseca Carrillo were key figures. With help from Honduran Juan Ramon Mata Ballesteros, they worked with Colombia's Medellin cartel. Mata Ballesteros was the main link between Colombian and Mexican traffickers, establishing drug routes still used today. Moving cocaine by air and sea to Central America and Mexico, then overland to the US. In 1985, Mexican traffickers killed Enrique Camarena, a US DEA agent. This led to the downfall of the Guadalajara cartel, as US pressure forced Mexican authorities to act. The cartel's leaders fled, and remaining factions set up in different parts of Mexico. The Arellano Felix brothers went to Tijuana, Carrillo Fuentes' family to Ciudad Juarez, and El Chapo and his partner, Hector Luis Palma Salazar, stayed in Sinaloa. The Sinaloa cartel then formed an alliance with the Valencia family in Michoacán, creating the Milenio Cartel. This gave them access to key Pacific ports and chemicals from China for meth production. Violence between these groups started quickly. In 1992, Guzman sent gunmen to a Tijuana cartel party, killing 9 people. The Tijuana cartel tried to kill Guzman in 1993, but killed a Mexican cardinal instead. Guzman fled to Guatemala and was arrested. Palma Salazar was arrested in 1995. While in prison, El Chapo still controlled the Sinaloa cartel through messages sent by his lawyers. He escaped in 2001 and regained full control. In 2008, a feud with the Beltran Leyva brothers led to violence across Sinaloa, Chihuahua, and Durango. El Chapo, Ismael El Mayo, Zambada, and Juan José El Azul, Esparragosa Moreno, became the cartel's main leaders. In 2010, Mexican authorities killed Ignacio Nacho Coronel, breaking the link with the Milenio cartel. This caused a split, leading to the creation of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, a major rival today. El Chapo was arrested again in 2014, but escaped in 2015 through a tunnel. He was recaptured in 2017 and extradited to the US. This sparked an internal power struggle within the Sinaloa cartel. Clashes occurred between El Mayo's followers and El Chapo's sons, with some instigated by Damaso El Licenciado Lopez Núñez, El Chapo's former right-hand man. El Licenciado and his son, Minilik, were later arrested and are in US custody. Leadership of the Sinaloa Cartel. The Sinaloa Cartel doesn't have a traditional top-down leadership structure. Instead, it operates as a network of different groups that work together. Both inside and outside Mexico, the cartel often collaborates with local partners to carry out its activities. Currently, the cartel has two main leadership groups. One is led by El Mayo, the last remaining leader from the older generation. The other group is led by El Chapo's sons, Joaquin Guzman Lopez, Ovidio Guzman Lopez, Ivan Archivaldo, and Jesus Alfredo, who are known as the Chapitos. Each group within the cartel has its own armed forces or mini-armies to help them protect and control territories. The Chapitos are associated with groups like the Ninis, the Salazar, Gente Nueva, and the Chimales. El Mayo's network works with groups like the Antrax and the Russos. The four Chapitos are top targets for both Mexican and U.S. authorities. Ovidio Guzman was arrested by Mexican authorities in January 2023 after a failed attempt in 2019. He was extradited to the United States in September 2023. Recently, Joaquin Guzman Lopez, one of the Chapitos and the son of Sinaloa cartel co-founder Joaquin El Chapo Guzman Loera, was detained along with Ismael El Mayo Zambada Garcia, the other co-founder of the cartel, after landing in a small plane in El Paso, Texas. Joaquin Guzman Lopez pleaded not guilty to U.S. drug charges last week, 5 days after his dramatic arrest in an operation where he delivered his father's former partner to U.S. authorities. Wearing an orange jumpsuit but no handcuffs, he entered the plea in a Chicago federal court. U.S. District Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman ordered him detained until his trial. If convicted, Guzman Lopez could face the death penalty. How they earn a lot of money. The Sinaloa cartel makes a lot of money by trafficking large amounts of drugs like fentanyl, heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine, and marijuana. According to the DEA, the cartel has distribution hubs in several U.S. cities and controls smuggling routes in Arizona and California. They also reportedly run fentanyl labs in Mexico. The cartel is one of two groups that use their control of the fentanyl trade to develop advanced money laundering methods, including the use of cryptocurrency. For example, they laundered over $869,000 using cryptocurrency between August 2022 and February 2023, according to a U.S. indictment. Most of the fentanyl that enters the U.S. comes from ingredients made in China. These ingredients are pressed into pills or packed as powder and then smuggled in from Mexico by drug cartels. Even though Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, a former leader of the Sinaloa cartel, was found guilty of many crimes and sentenced to life in prison in 2019, his drug empire made him a billionaire. He was once ranked the 10th richest man in Mexico and the 140th in the world in 2011, with a net worth of about $1 billion. To help with drug trafficking, the Sinaloa cartel also built a large shipping and transport network. Guzman was called the biggest drug lord of all time by some, and the US DEA considered him the godfather of the drug world, believing he surpassed even Pablo Escobar in influence and reach. Currently, the CJNG is the Sinaloa cartel's main rival. However, the two organizations have come to work together at certain stages of drug supply chains. For example, by sharing suppliers of precursor chemicals for the production of methamphetamine and fentanyl. The Sinaloa cartel is a strong example of how powerful organized crime can be. Their huge wealth comes from many illegal activities, showing the urgent need for countries to work together to fight drug trafficking. Even though capturing key leaders has hurt the cartel, it still remains powerful, highlighting the challenges ahead. What do you think about the Sinaloa cartel's operations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Mexican drug cartels are not just ordinary street criminals. They are powerful, technologically advanced criminal organizations with hundreds of thousands of members. These groups control vast regions of Mexico, spreading violence and crime across Mexico, Central America, and beyond. Over the past few years, changes in border policies have allowed these cartels to gain access to American communities, bringing harm to innocent citizens. One of the most dangerous threats they pose is the smuggling of illicit fentanyl, a deadly drug that has become the leading cause of death among young Americans aged 18 to 45. This alarming fact highlights the significant power these cartels hold, making them a serious threat to both Mexico and the United States. Mexico is home to many organized crime gangs, with estimates suggesting that at least 150 such groups are operating in the country. These gangs often form alliances with the two major cartels, the Sinaloa Cartel and the Jalisco Nueva Generación Cartel, CJNG. Other prominent cartels include Los Zetas, the Gulf Cartel, and the Juarez Cartel. Together, these groups have nearly 1 million members who are involved in drug trafficking, money laundering, violent crimes, and other illegal activities. The Sinaloa Cartel is one of the oldest and most powerful drug trafficking organizations in Mexico. With an estimated 100,000 members, it has established strong connections with Mexican political and economic elites, allowing it to maintain a tight grip on its territory. The CJNG, a newer and even more dangerous cartel, has quickly risen to power. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, DEA, considers the CJNG to be the top threat to the United States, and it is believed to control or influence about 85% of Mexican city-states. The Mexican drug cartels are not just about power, they are also highly sophisticated actors. They have a monopoly on violence in many regions, using tactics such as intimidation, bribery, extortion, and brutal acts of violence to maintain control. The cartels are known for leaving horrifying displays of violence, such as beheadings and mass graves, to terrorize local citizens. Estimates suggest that between 1/3 and 1/2 of all homicides in Mexico are linked to the cartels. The cartels are heavily armed, with access to advanced weapons such as AK-47s, M16s, and military-grade weapons like the Galil AC. Since 2006, Mexico's homicide rate has tripled, with an estimated 150,000 deaths resulting from crime-related violence. In 2018 alone, the cartels were responsible for the deaths of at least 130 candidates and politicians during Mexico's presidential elections. Local police are often bribed or pressured into protecting the cartel's drug shipments, controlling the economy, and helping them maintain their hold on territory. One of the cartel's most sophisticated tactics involves the use of drones. Both the Sinaloa and CJNG cartels have embraced modern technology, using drones to optimize their smuggling efforts and improve their surveillance and reconnaissance. These drones are used to monitor U.S. Border Patrol agents, allowing drug mules to move illegal aliens and narcotics across the southern border undetected. In some cases, the cartels have even hacked U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, drones to facilitate their smuggling operations. The cartels have also equipped their drones with drugs, using a drag-and-drop technique to transport them across the border. This method allows them to evade U.S. law enforcement by relying on technology rather than people. In February 2023, Border Patrol Chief Agent Gloria Chavez testified before Congress that the cartels have 17 times the number of drones, twice the amount of flight hours, and unlimited funding to grow their operations. In Texas's Rio Grande Valley sector alone, Customs and Border Protection, CBP, faced over 10,000 drone incursions and 25,000 drone sightings in 1 year. In addition to smuggling drugs, the cartels have used drones to carry out attacks against rival groups and law enforcement. The CJNG in particular has been linked to drone attacks against police and civilians in Mexico. In January 2022, the CJNG used drones to bomb a camp in Michoacán, Mexico, as part of a larger effort to take control of the region. The violence caused by these drone attacks led to a mass evacuation of residents from nearby towns. The Mexican drug cartels have also weaponized social media to expand their influence and recruit new members. They use platforms like TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, and Facebook to recruit American citizens for drug smuggling, human smuggling, and other illegal activities. The DEA has acknowledged that social media is a major tool for cartels to run their operations and reach out to victims. When their product kills Americans, the cartels simply move on to victimize others. Cartel members often post job offers on social media, promising large sums of money for smuggling drugs or people across the southern border. For example, in October 2022, a TikTok video offered $70,000 for someone to drive an 18-wheeler from McAllen to Houston. The Texas Department of Public Safety confirmed that the post was from a cartel member, following a pattern of online recruitment. A Tucson sector border patrol agent stated that nearly 90% of drivers arrested for smuggling admitted they were recruited through social media. The cartels also target young people, juveniles, and even U.S. soldiers for recruitment. Sometimes they blackmail individuals into participating in illegal activities, leaving them with no way out. U.S. servicemen have been attracted to these promises of money, drugs, and power within the cartels, leading to some deserting the military to join the cartels. These trained military men make the cartels even more dangerous as they bring professional skills and knowledge to their criminal operations. One of the most significant threats posed by the Mexican drug cartels is the smuggling of illicit fentanyl. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is much more potent than most other illicit drugs, making it cheap and easy to produce. The cartels obtain fentanyl precursors from China through maritime ports in western Mexico, over which they fight for control. The cartels then convert these substances into fentanyl, often lacing it into fake prescription drugs or other illegal substances. The U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ, has recently charged a faction of the Sinaloa cartel for its role in a sophisticated pipeline of fentanyl precursor chemicals from China. This faction has also been involved in smuggling military-grade weapons from the U.S. in exchange for fentanyl. The profits from fentanyl smuggling are huge, with reports indicating that a single kilogram of fentanyl can be transformed into hundreds of thousands of counterfeit pills, each sold for a significant profit. Fentanyl has already claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands of Americans, most of whom unknowingly took something laced with the drug. A Wall Street Journal investigation revealed that Sinaloa cartel cooks can make enough fentanyl for hundreds of thousands of doses every 6 days. These cooks reportedly earn more money in a week than the average Mexican makes in a year. A single package of fentanyl, weighing just 11 pounds, can sell for $15,000 in Culiacan, Mexico, but its value skyrockets to $100,000 by the time it reaches the United States. The Mexican drug cartels are highly organized, powerful, and deadly. Their smuggling tactics, use of advanced technology, and exploitation of social media have made them a significant threat to both Mexico and the United States. The cartel's involvement in fentanyl smuggling in particular has had devastating consequences, claiming the lives of countless Americans. As the war on drugs continues, it is clear that addressing the power and influence of these cartels is a critical challenge that must be met with determination and resolve. The safety and well-being of communities on both sides of the border depend on it.